we're live.
Hi, welcome to Airplay. We're at the end of the month, and that means our monthly feature, Determined Women. Here with me is Padmini, our new co-host, and she's going to tell us about who our guest is.
Yes, Connie, I'm happy to do that. Composer, lyricist, playwright, actress, Sharon Barnett has done it all. Born and bred in New York City, the daughter of a nightclub singer, Sharon was practically born into it. Her relatives were the first comedians in America, Weber and Field. Her grandfather even had a dog act, so performance was definitely in her genes. By the age of 8 years old, Sharon was intoxicated with the stage. She started performing with her sister in her dad's show, Sammy's Bowery Follies. The audience loved her, and she even got more applause than the star of the show. Shortly after that, Sharon had an experience in grade school that she'll never forget. It was auditions for the class play. Another girl was up in front taking directions from the teacher. Sharon, still in her seat, began acting out the direction from her seat, and voila, the teacher asked her to audition next. Sharon got the part and was addicted to acting ever since. Let us welcome Sharon Barnett.
Hey!
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here with you guys.
It's a pleasure for us to have you here. You are such a gem. Let's just start with some of the stuff that Padmini mentioned. How you got into this, the world of theater? I mean, how did your dad? Tell us more. We want to know more about those early days.
Well, growing up, I had a very rare childhood in that I spent it in a nightclub. And every weekend, my father, my mother, and myself and my sister would go down to watch him perform. And then we started performing in the nightclub as well. So I loved being on that stage. It meant a lot to me then, and it still means a lot to me now.
So you were how old when you first started going to the club?
8. I was 8 years old.
8. My daughter started on theater at 8. It never leaves you, right?
No, it was quite an experience. I mean, we watched my father perform. We waited till he was done at 3 in the morning, went to Chinatown, had snails and crabs, and went home.
That's great. What a rare experience, a rare beginning. Now, tell us, how did you know? How did you realize that was your passion? Tell us about that first time that you stepped up on stage. And
well, it was a matter of people approving of you, and laughing, applauding, smiling, and then afterwards telling you how great you are. Who the heck doesn't like that?
What did you like when? Okay, so then how long did you do this? How long were you part of the club?
Well, we would go, just here and there because we were also children, but that started me, I liked the stage, and every year I wound up getting the lead in my school plays. And I thought that I would walk around Broadway thinking I would be the greatest actress that ever existed. I knew all the stage managers at a very young age, even worked as a waitress in my friend's restaurant when I was 16. And that was on Broadway. So it was, I thought I won all sorts of awards in high school, in acting, Lincoln Center. I won an award. I was constantly, I started out in college as a theater major. So I really saw that as my future.
And so how did the other things come to play? The writing,
it took a long dive as far as acting is concerned. I had a few negative experiences. And I decided, well, I'll go into other things. And I wound up majoring. I started with acting and I wound up majoring in advertising in the end. I changed colleges and I didn't know what to do. It was rough. It was sort of like, this was my dream, but let it go. Maybe I'll find something else along the way. And strangely enough, I let it go for a very, very long time. I was married. I got married. I had children. And I met this woman who was actually in my child's kindergarten class, who had a TV show. And I went to, now this will sound crazy, but I went to a clairvoyant. And he said to me, you will be on television shows in here. And you're going to be a writer and you're going to be this. And I thought this guy was crazy. But I meet up with this woman. She has TV shows and her kid is in the same class as my child. And we became friends. And I said to her, oh, she was interested in theater. And she told me, I love the theater, blah, blah, blah. I'd like to do a show with the theater. So I worked in TV sales and whatever in the past. So I said, I could do that. I can do that. I can get you that show with the Broadway stars. And I didn't know what I was doing, but somehow I managed to do it. I got interviews with so many actors on Broadway. And we were doing these shows. We were going to American Theater Wing. We were meeting up with everybody. It was quite crazy. And we were even competing with the show with HBO.
Wow.
So, I mean, it was this cable show, but one day we went and we interviewed somebody at the Shubert Theater. It was Crazy for You, which is a long time ago already. And Crazy for You. And the star of the show said, would you like to have, see the theater, interview me backstage, on stage, whatever. And my family was originally Weber and Fields. The Shubert Theater was called Weber and Fields.
Really?
And here I was standing on the theater that was named originally for my family.
Yeah.
And I said, I'm going back. I'm going to try. I'm going to do this. I'm going to become the actress I thought I should be. And I started going out after that. I said, okay, I stopped with the TV show and I started seeing what I could do. And I wound up on a million extra work. I did a lot of extra. I took all sorts of courses, singing, acting, Shakespeare, tap dancing, this thing, that. I took everything. And then I started I would get like things like I would whatever I go for, somehow I would get. It was very odd. And I was taking singing classes and doing things. And this guy told me, well, I do comedy. And I said, wait a minute, I want to be an actress. So I noticed that everybody who was an actress on television had a comedy show. So I decided for me to get a sitcom, I have to be a stand-up comedian. So I studied stand-up comedy and I became a stand-up comedian. And it was nuts. It was absolutely nuts. But I was pretty good at stand-up and I liked it. And I did a lot of the clubs. And I even had a few strange experiences when I was newly doing comedy. A neighbor asked me if I would do a show for the Suicide Foundation. Now that's not too funny, but he said, would you want to be on this big show at Caroline's, and here I was very, very new. And I was doing jokes about penis enlargement. I mean, it was like really silly. But anyway, I was doing this show. I said, okay, I'll do whatever to get my name out there. And I got an article in the local newspaper. I was on the front page. I mean, I was doing it. So I go to the show and for the Suicide Foundation, however, And the main person is Pat Cooper. Well, Pat Cooper gets on and he tells them all to drop dead.
Oh my God. He'd like that though.
Yes. Well, he was angry. They didn't pay for his cab. So he was very annoyed. And they said to me, "You're next." And I went, "Oh no. Oh no." Why?
Oh my God. How do you follow that? I know Pat Cooper too. His Italian name is Pasquale Cabuto.
Yes. You know, it was, well, anyway, I wound up falling off the stage literally, but it was a really.
What do you mean literally?
Literally, they looked at me as though they wanted to kill me, you know, and wished I would commit suicide. It was not.
Did you do some jokes or something? How did you follow him?
I really, it was, I don't even remember what I said. I was just kind of devastated. At the end, I told them, I hope you don't die tonight or something crazy.
Oh, geez.
And then as I was getting off,
hard, man.
Yeah,
you know, people say death is easy. Comedy's hard. You know, I mean,
it was hard. It was hard, but it was exciting because what it did is I wrote my own jokes and I wrote my own act. And I would, at the end of it, I would say, well, who did better, the writer or the performer? And
that's a cool way to look at it.
Yeah, it really was. And it was kind of very challenging. And when it was very hard because you would tell a joke and the joke would go over in one audience. And then you would tell the same joke to a different audience and they look at you like, do you have 3 heads or 4, you know, which, you know, it's quite fascinating. You know, it depends on your audience, who likes you, who doesn't.
That's the scariest thing to me with theater. If something works, you know, if it works that night, that was probably my most, you know, I haven't done a lot of acting, but that was my scariest thing is when, is it going to work? And you can't go there. You can't go there. If you go to the future, you're dead in the present. You know what I mean? And wow, look at, okay, so actor, performer, then a stand-up comic. What's your advice? Obviously, this is in your blood, but there's tons of people that's in their blood and maybe just in their mind. Maybe they don't even have anybody from home, there's no support. And there's a lot of parents that, you know, I know kids whose parents said, I won't pay for a theater degree, you know, and I taught college for a long while. And, you know, kids would come to me crying, you know, kids that got into Carnegie Mellon and from Park University, which are really good theater schools. And they would, you know, like, my mom won't pay for my tuition. She wants me to change my major. You know, it's like, well, you know, but what's your advice? So what's your advice for newcomers, kids in college, after college? What would you say? What kept you grounded?
You have to, it has to all come from you. If you believe that you can do something, you can. And there are a lot of naysayers out there. More people will tell you, you know, forget that dream. It's, you know, go on to something else, try something else. But if it really is your dream, then at least give it a shot, because if it doesn't work, at least you know you did it and you tried.
Absolutely. 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 So now we move into Sharon Barnett, the writer. Tell us about all the wonderful things that led up to and are still embodying your raison d'etre, Sammy's Bowery Follies.
Yes, it's a mouthful. What? Well, I grew up in that nightclub, as I told you, and my father passed away 33 years ago. And it was sort of a continuation of his dream. I always felt that my father should have been famous. My father should have had success as a performer. He had so many talents. And he left me with music that he wrote, left me with scripts that he wrote. I didn't know what to do with it. So I started out looking at his things, and I found that I started writing myself, and I found that I was writing exactly what my father had written. It was very bizarre. We had a very strong connection. And somehow something about this show, I've been pursuing this for so long, so many rewrites, but I started writing with his music. And then one day somebody said to me, you can write music. And I said, I don't know how to write music. I can't write music. I would hear music in my head, but I never took it seriously. You sing to your heart's content in the shower or whatever. And I believed what this person told me. And I went, and all of a sudden I started writing this music that I was always hearing just was flying out of me. And I was taking some singing classes, and I had a teacher, and I said to her, could you get this music down? Could you get it down for me, please? I can't write music literally on paper, but this is what I'm hearing. And I would sing to her every song that I heard. And we started writing it down. So one day there was a contest or a submission to this organization called TRU. And they were having a benefit. Every year they have this amazing benefit, and they are so kind to people who want to be in the arts. They are so kind to people who want to be producers. They really care about theater and its people. And so anyway, they were having a benefit, and they said, new songwriters, and there was nobody newer than me, new songwriters, submit your songs. And my mom at the time was living, and I said to my mother, Ma, what do you think? Should I submit this song? And the song, okay, the name of it is, Did You Hear the Applause Tonight? And I just thought, for my show, everything, it's about a performer and what is important to a performer. What does he want? He wants applause. He has a scrapbook. He loves the stage. He lives on that stage. So basically that's what my show is about. A performer who happened to be my father, who came from World War II and wound up in this gay 90s nightclub, which had performers there other than he, who were from vaudeville. So, and also always a little person. The guy was pretty smart, and it was on the Bowery, and it was unlike any other club in New York.
Tell us about it.
Okay.
Now this was after vaudeville. And
right.
then
It was after vaudeville.
Okay, so what came right after vaudeville? These little clubs and nightclub acts, or how that?
Yes. But I'll go back. Let me go back to that, because then, okay, with the benefit, I will return to what I began to tell you. They said, submit a song. I submit this song. Did you hear the applause tonight? And I get a call. And they said, we love this song. We're going to use it as the last song of the night and have all the people performing sing your song. I said, oh my God. Oh my God. I was screaming. And anyway, they said, come and meet the person who's going to be playing your song and hear the rehearsal. I couldn't believe it. I could not believe it. It was the most amazing thing, I think, one of the most amazing moments of my life. So I went, and this man was playing my song, literally. And he said to me, who are you? Who are you? Sondheim, who are you? How did you write this song? I said, I don't know. I just
don't know.
Heard it in my head. I don't know. I just wrote it. So to make a long story short, he became my collaborator.
Oh, wow.
And he helped put down the music, helped me with the music on Sammy's. And we even wrote another musical together because we loved working together. And sadly, 2 years ago, I lost him.
Oh.
He died suddenly from a UTI. And I have been kind of at a loss ever since.
Well, you'll
Mike
find the right
McFrederick.
person. What's that?
His name is Mike McFrederick.
Well, Well, it's wonderful when people come in and out of our lives, even if it's a short time. But it's wonderful to have that embodiment of work. It's funny too. I get so intoxicated when I see my work performed because
Hold on one sec. I gotta turn that stupid phone.
sure.
I didn't expect that. Forgive me.
Yeah, no, we're surrounded by technology. And sometimes we drop off and our shows don't connect. And we had one show, we had a brilliant playwright last year from Ireland, and his play got halfway through garbled. So nothing phases us. We just did it again. Rachel's great with that. But so going back to your collaborator, and are you looking for a new collaborator? What's your plan with this?
Well, I really, not musically, no, or writing. I have another writer who helped write the script. And so he and I are still connected.
Oh, cool.
But the music, I just need some changes in a few of the songs. Basically, I'm leaving as it was or is, and just some lyric changes that I made, some arrangement changes. That's about it. So
Maybe
it's very minor.
You just need a really good musical director to help
Yes.
you. Yeah, exactly.
Yes, I'll be needing that.
Yeah.
And
will you go to like a concert reading, or what do you think you're going to do next? Or are you going to go to?
I don't know. I think I think basically we'll do a new reading because I know for a fact you do concert readings and people come back and say, well, where's the book?
Yeah.
Where's the book?
Yeah, you're right. It's so many people say that.
Where's the book and what are you hiding?
Oh, I don't have a second act yet. Sorry.
I haven't gotten there yet. I'm writing it as we speak, So no, I will probably have a new reading, which would be nice to get the right producer this time around. I've had actually with this show, I've had a lot of strange experiences because I had a reading, and when I had my reading, I had tons of articles that were being written about the club, about me, and it was wild. I wasn't even searching for them, and there you go. It was amazing. I even had my reading, an article in Playbill that was written, and I was told that's so rare, that people.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then I thought possibly it was really strange. This club is closed about 50 years. And I had this idea that maybe, since I got all this publicity and I didn't even try, maybe I will take this show and put it in its original venue down on the Bowery. And I said, I'm going to contact, at the time there was a restaurant, and I said, I'm going to contact them and I'm going to see if they'd be interested possibly in premiering my show.
Yeah.
Taking over their restaurant and making, right? Well, I called them and they're like, it's very strange you called. We've been wanting somebody who was connected to that club in some way to contact us.
Oh my gosh.
I said, what? So I went down and they were very excited about putting the club, starting it in the club 50 years after it closed.
That's exciting.
Yes. And so they were going to do it. And then something happened. And then unfortunately, they couldn't maintain their restaurant and closed. So but
what's there now? What's there now?
I don't think anything. I think it's empty.
Well, you need to put it out to the universe.
Yes, it's getting out. Yeah, so
it'll happen. It'll happen. It's exciting. So tell us, Sharon told me a little bit about, we had talked earlier and she told me a little bit about this crazy club. So it was after vaudeville, and we were having these nightclubs, cabaret type experiences. I think that's fabulous. I'd like to do a jazz cabaret after the shows close, because people were so fired up and they like to see stuff like this.
Oh,
after,
yeah.
you know. But tell us a little bit about who you saw there, what kind of people would come, and what
Oh
it
my
was like.
God. I mean, there were so many celebrities. It was bizarre because they would have presidents. Kennedy would come and sit literally next to a plumber.
Oh, wow, isn't that cool?
I mean, there were everything. I mean, you name it. There were the Rolling Stones, Marcello Mastroianni, who else? Jane Mansfield.
And it wasn't about who was performing that night, right? What was it more
No,
about?
no, they just came because it was so unique. It was, okay, it wound up being part of a Gray Line bus tour. Of evening, you know, so it was on the same bus tour as the Copa or the Latin Quarter, or, you know, the clubs that were famous at that time. And they were there when they would go to the Latin Quarter or the Copa. It was very, very, formal. And this club, however, was down on the Bowery. So it was very open your shirt, pick up your legs. The performers would come over and they would, you know, sit with you, they talk to you, and then they get on the stage and they sing and they dance and they carry on. So it was different than anything that they went to before. And people loved the atmosphere because they felt very much at home. And the people that worked there were so unique and everywhere. I love those people. They were kind of crabby in some ways, very unique. You'd ask this one, "How are you doing?" "I'm here, aren't I?" I mean, she was so crazy. You know, it was like that.
Nitty gritty.
You know, and some, you know, and we loved them. They were in a part of my family, and there was, you know,
Well, we're just about out of time, but I would say, like J.W. Marriott said, location, location, location. I think you found yourself a vortex in the universe, a cosmic place, and I think you should go for it, Sharon. I mean, I think I can't wait to go there with you. I think your show is going to open there. I think it's going to happen. And I think it's a magic spot. And I think that's why people go to places like that, like it'd be a spot, you know what I mean? And I think it's the universe just gives you that oomph, you know, when you're meant to do something. So keep going with it. I can't wait. And
okay.
Thank you so much for being here. Wonderful. Sharon Barnett, an amazing performer, writer, composer, and lyricist. Thank you again, Sharon.
Love you.
Love you.